As Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis gear up for their November 14th fight, a leaked sparring clip of them surfaced on a boxing YouTube channel, creating massive buzz and debate across the boxing world.
Didn't even notice it at first, honestly. I want to see the replay. Like, I don't even know if I moved at all. But it was pretty fast. I didn't see it coming, so we'll...
While most fans were unaware, Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis had a private sparring session during Gervonta's 14-month break before facing Frank Martin. This took place after Gervonta mocked Jake's boxing skills and said his own punching power matched that of a super middleweight.
Oh, there you go. Good punch. Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Take deep breaths when you want. Take deep breaths.
As expected, the sparring unfolded just the way Gervonta Davis predicted. Despite Jake Paul trying to use his size, height, and reach to dominate, Gervonta's fast movement kept him in charge. During the session, Jake's lack of technique was clear, and his only hope was landing a lucky knockout.
To stop him, and if you can stop him, do you think you can stop him?
Yeah, for sure. I think I can stop him. I'm much quicker than him. He's much stronger, much bigger, but we all know that tall fighters is a taller fighter. A shorter person is hard to fight a taller person. So, I mean, while a taller person is hard to fight.
Made it smaller gloves just now today. Someone's getting put to sleep.
How's your mental?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just so happy to be here. I love all of this. Excited to get back to camp and just knock this guy out and prove people wrong once again.
Jake tried to surprise Gervonta Davis with a big shot at the lightweight champion, but Tank's solid defense stopped every punch. Gervonta then shifted to counterpunching, and if the session had been judged, he would have easily won on points. Fans who watched the footage for the first time were truly stunned by what they saw. Man, this is exactly how the actual fight will go. Boxing is about skill, not size. There's no chance a YouTuber can beat someone as skilled as Tank, one fan said. Another commented, "I don't understand how people think this fight makes sense. It's basically a younger Tyson going up against Jake. Nothing new or interesting."
Paul versus Gervonta Davis.
Oh, I don't care. I don't think anyone cares, man. No one cares. No.
To ensure the actual fight plays out like their sparring session, Gervonta Davis has been training with heavyweight partners to prepare for the 6 feet 2 inches cruiserweight Jake Paul. However, Jake didn't seem fazed by a photo Gervonta shared on his Instagram story showing him working with a much larger partner. The image spread quickly across social media and eventually reached Jake's page, but he shrugged it off and reposted it to his own story with a confident message.
We know he's gonna be definitely frustrated. You know, he's slower. You know, his arm reach not that much longer. We just gotta wait and see until we get in there and test the waters. But I'm for sure though that he decent and he gonna hold up for a couple rounds. But once it get hot in there, you know, I think it's play.
Gervonta sparring with a guy who's got cankles. Come on, man, get a real athlete, Jake said. Even Terrence Crawford was surprised when the news surfaced. Noting the major size gap, Crawford shared that the matchup might not favor Davis. Jake's just too big for Tank, Crawford said on the Full Send podcast. Honestly, he's way too big for him.
Paul versus Tank Davis, they just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake laying one good punch.
Crawford has said before that he's not a huge fan of Gervonta Davis, though he still respects his skill. Even then, he pointed out that the size gap could be a serious issue. Tank's talented, strong, and explosive, but Jake's simply too big, Crawford explained. In his last fight, Davis had a tough night, finishing with a majority decision draw against Lamont Roach on March 1st at Brooklyn's Barclays Center. A rematch seemed to be next, but Davis surprised everyone by choosing to move ahead with a fight against Jake Paul instead.
Bruh.
Yeah. Lay it on me, Rolly. What do you think, bro? Come on.
I don't even know what to think right now. I don't even know what to think. Maybe some, Tank has an unreal boxing ability, and Jake Paul is really big. But the last time I said somebody was going to be bigger, they weren't that much bigger. But I think in this case, somebody's actually a lot bigger. So,
Did you see the face-off? Like,
yeah.
As for Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned cruiserweight contender, he's often been criticized for the opponents he picks. Crawford doesn't really understand the point of this matchup but admits he'll still tune in. If the fight turns out to be more than just hype and both men truly go for it, Crawford believes Davis will take a serious loss. "I think Jake wins," Crawford said when asked for his prediction. "He's just too big. If he lands one clean shot on Tank, it's done. Jake has real power in that right hand. He's big, faster than people think, and he can punch."
Does Davis have a chance?
Gervonta is a great boxer, but he ain't going to be Jake Paul.
So you got Jake Paul by knockout, or
No, I don't got anybody, but I don't think
he's just too small?
it's just
Shakur Stevenson, the 28-year-old WBC lightweight champion, appeared on TMZ Sports just moments after the Paul vs. Davis fight was announced. He agreed that Tank is one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport but highlighted the massive weight gap of about 60 pounds. Tank's last weigh-in was 133 pounds, while Jake weighed 199. When asked if Jake had any real chance of beating Gervonta, Shakur didn't think twice. "No," he said firmly, then repeated, "Nope."
On top of his game, he's going to be sharp, fast, strong. I think that's the thing that's going to surprise a lot of people with this fight is Bud power carries up. It's not just power that was just there for 147 or 140. His power carries up in weight. So I think that's the biggest thing that's going to surprise everybody.
Shakur, have you noticed that he's a step slower and any downside to adding on a little bit of size with Bud?
I
mean, size will matter a little, Stevenson said, but if I were Tank, I'd focus on outboxing him and using my ring IQ. He added that he could easily see Davis making it look easy. Known for his devastating power with 28 knockouts in 31 fights, Davis has a strong reputation, but Stevenson doesn't expect a knockout this time. "I think Tank wins by decision," he said. "Jake's too big to get knocked out, but I can see Tank outboxing him." When host Babcock pressed him further, Shakur stuck to his prediction.
Tank wants to fight Jake Paul. I'm telling you, he want to fight Jake Paul because he know if he climb in the ring with Shakur Stevenson, he's going to get zapated. He know it.
"Nah, I don't see Tank knocking Jake out," Stevenson said. While he clearly thinks the fight is one-sided, he didn't disrespect Jake. "I think Jake's doing fine for where he's at, but there are levels to this," he added. Shakur also made it clear he won't be watching the Paul vs. Davis fight. "Hell no," he said to TMZ Sports. He explained, "I've got two sides, my business side and my competitor side. From a competitive view, this fight just isn't exciting enough for me to watch."
And like 199 point something his last fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He hasn't been only boxing for a couple of years. He's 12-1. Tank Davis obviously been boxing his whole life. He's 30-0-1. He's knocked everybody out except for 3 opponents in his life. But at what point does size matter so much though, where it can't be overcome, Shakur? And is it in this case here when you've got what is like a 70-pound difference between these two guys?
Size will play some part of the fight, but
Stevenson said he wasn't shocked by the announcement. "No, I'm not surprised," he said. In his last fight against Lamont, Jake Paul was there. Tank even said he wanted to fight someone like Jake Paul, so this makes sense to me. Still, even understanding the move, Stevenson isn't happy about it. He was frustrated before the fight was confirmed, when rumors first emerged that Davis was considering an exhibition with the YouTuber. To him, the choice feels like a disrespect to boxing and to his own goal of facing Davis for a real lightweight title. "Tank's disrespecting the sport if he picks an exhibition with Paul instead of fighting me," Stevenson told Fight Hub TV.
The rumors of Tank and Jake fight.
man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. And he called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove me. I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be on.
"I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been saying that and he keeps calling it a lie. So if he really believes that, Let him step up and prove it, Shakur said, expressing his frustration after years of trying to make a fight happen. Stevenson has long sought a matchup with Gervonta Davis. Both hold titles in the same division, Stevenson with the WBC and Davis with the WBA, but talks have never moved forward. With all the back and forth and stalled negotiations, their potential fight has turned into a boxing soap opera. Fans are growing impatient, while Gervonta seems more focused on the spotlight, considering an exhibition with Jake Paul instead.
Making it real easy.
Is there any way you could, any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even the, and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch and Tank being so much smaller.
We're working on it behind the scenes, Paul said, suggesting the fight could happen under certain conditions to give fans a big show. Stevenson, however, is frustrated, focusing on legitimacy over spectacle. One major obstacle has been the split between promoters and platforms. Stevenson fights under Top Rank on ESPN, while Davis is with Premier Boxing Champions on Showtime and pay-per-view. Historically, these rivalries have blocked major matchups. Looking ahead, Stevenson says he has two potential opponents in mind, Teofimo Lopez and Lamont Roach, who himself has been pushing for a fight with Davis after their March draw.
It's the biggest fight in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be the biggest boxing fight in the world when it happens. I can see it happening not too far in the future.
Really?
I can see it happening. I don't think, like, I think Tank will sign that contract.
Dang.
And I'm going to sign a contract.
Months before his fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Jake Paul had already hinted at a matchup with Gervonta Davis. He said his team was quietly working to make it happen and added, "We're working on it, but it'll most likely be an exhibition."
I think Tank is going through things that we don't know that he's going through mentally, so that's why I kind of like don't want to. I think that whenever I say something about him and go viral and then they make it a way for us to beef or whatever.
Pile on.
Yeah. And it's more of like I ain't got to be friends with him, but I don't hate the dude, and I wish him well. I think that if he gets
The announcement grabbed the boxing world's attention. A fight between a ranked cruiserweight and a lightweight champion seems almost unbelievable, yet some, like Claressa Shields, are curious about the event. For Shields, the news came as a surprise. Davis had just fought Lamont Roach Jr. on March 1st in a controversial match that sparked talk of a rematch, possibly in August. Instead, Davis will face Jake Paul.
It's definitely the one I want next, but it's not gonna be next.
What is?
You might see it in a minute. Definitely might see it in a minute.
Shields admitted she might watch the fight if only out of curiosity. Shakur Stevenson, however, had a different reaction. He has long been calling for a big showdown with Davis, but instead, the Baltimore fighter chose to face a cruiserweight YouTuber turned boxer. Shields wrote on X, "Seeing Tank versus Jake Paul announced today and not Lamont Roach was very shocking, but I'm going to watch the fight." She predicted Davis would win, pointing to his experience and skill rather than mental readiness. In his 12-year career, Davis has only fought at 140 pounds once, and now he's preparing for an opponent at 200 pounds. Jake Paul addressed the situation as well, clarifying in a chat with Ariel Helwani that the fight will take place at 195 pounds.
That's the main thing. He want to be able to say, look what I done in the last 4 years, 5 years, or 5 years in boxing. I got to the top. I fought the best fighter in the world, pound for pound, Canelo Alvarez or Anthony Joshua, heavyweight champ. That's just it. That's all he wants. He looking for clout, man. That's it. Clout at the end of the day. He know he can't beat none of those dudes.
But if he stepped in the ring with an Anthony Joshua, all jokes aside, would you, from the outside looking in a former fighter, you know how dangerous this is, would you look?
It'll be an exhibition, 10 3-minute rounds, no restrictions, Paul said, admitting it won't be professionally sanctioned. Tim Bradley, however, believes Davis is essentially retired and sees the exhibition as purely for money, not because he still has it in him. "Tank is done," Bradley told The Ring. "Shoes off, plaque up, he's finished." Bradley has always respected the Baltimore fighter, but lately the former ESPN analyst and International Boxing Hall of Famer hasn't been impressed with Davis. In Bradley's view, things started going downhill earlier this year when the 30-year-old WBA lightweight champion faced Lamont Roach as a heavy favorite on March 1st at Brooklyn's Barclays Center.
In to see, man.
So we see the same when Gervonta rematches Lamont Roach.
Could be, yeah, because the styles make fights, man, and obviously Lamont Roach, man, look, anybody that can take a shot and that's tough, bro, and that can take it to Tank, they can beat him. All right? Roach, he mentally tough, had his game plan, was able to execute, was able to march forward in spots. He was able to control a lot of the action.
Many, including Bradley, expected Davis to win easily, but he ended up with a majority draw. That disappointing performance seemed to push Davis, and he and Roach were tentatively scheduled for a rematch on August 16th in Las Vegas. However, the Davis-Roach rematch was never officially announced, and it's unclear if their second lightweight title fight will happen soon. The Ring reported 2 weeks ago that the fight could still take place on August 23rd or August 30th, but nothing is confirmed. Before facing Roach, Davis seemed on track to fight former YouTuber turned pro boxer Jake Paul if he had won, and Paul later confirmed those reports.
Gervonta Davis. Wow. Wow, that sounds crazy. That sounds real crazy. But doing it in Atlanta was a very smart strategic move. Because one thing about Atlanta, I lived in Atlanta for a good 4 to 5 years, but I know one thing when it comes to us, anything that's popping in the city, they coming out. They coming out.
Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Wow. Berto said, that sounds wild, but holding it in Atlanta is smart. I've lived near Atlanta for 45 years and I know one thing, if something big is happening, the city shows up. It's going to be packed. He added, I see a lot of fans upset in the comments because they love real boxing, but right now the sport is all about entertainment. It's about putting on a show.
City is coming out, so the city will be coming out. It's going to be packed, a packed house in Atlanta. Come out, and of course, support Gervonta, because like I say, Jake ain't never in his life going to see a stadium so filled with black people in his life. You know what I mean? They coming out. It's going to be crazy, right? I see a lot of people in the comments, of course.
Despite all the odds, Jake and Tank are set to deliver an exciting fight when they face off next month. That's all for now. For the latest news, highlights, and updates in boxing, subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss content like this. Until next time, peace.